Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about SNSS. So before we move forward, make sure you drop a like to help this channel grow, subscribe and leave your notifications on to receive the latest of my content, and share this video at the end if you like it. Without further ado, I'm going to go through technical analysis, and then I'm going to go through latest news for this company, what I think about this company, as well as going to look into their financials and what the future has to hold for this company here. So first things first, of course, this one got hit with an offering today at 0.23. So already is quite far off from the 0.23 mark. So I'm going to be here talking about what do I think the next move is. So the average directional index has decreased, of course, but it was on an increase here, showing a strong trend, more of an uptrend lately. Of course, it did have a bearish kicker on the 27th. The stock did barely just quickly touched the 200 SMA and then dropped, and it just lasted 2 days above the 50 SMA, so that's a little bit of a bad news there. But here's the good news: the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA looks like they're almost touching, so once they actually do touch, that's a signal for a breakout. Even with the offering that's still counting in, William percent R is putting the stock at oversold. Well, it's obvious with unbalanced volume here with the current offering. Now the MACD seems to have been decreasing in terms of the average, but it has decreased for quite a little and then decreased, and then it's kind of oscillating between that and forth. So it doesn't tell us much per instance. But an MACD looking like this with an offering is good news for me. Momentum seems to have lost it as well just because of the offering. So moving on to 1 hour intervals, and here is where we get a little bit of the better news. You get to see here it is above the VWAP. Now, it did break through the 200 SMA last night, and that's understandable with the news, but it did just briefly touch the 200 SMA a little bit around 5 p.m. and then it dipped back, but you can get to see still there's an upcline that is happening here. MACD does confirm a positive, at least extended market, probably will still continue to jump, especially with the average directional index. That confirms a strong indication of a trend. Now the William percent R is putting the stock a little bit closer to the overbought situation at this point, and I do expect it to reach overbought sometime in the morning with people trying to rush in and trying to get, trying to chase the stock, basically. Now moving on towards the moving average, you get to see that the moving average band here in blue has been all over the place, but it's sitting currently between 0.28 and 0.34, so that's where I expect the stock to oscillate tomorrow. The unbalanced volume took a dump here, but that's expected with an offering. Now going on to Fibonacci retracements. Of course, the trend line that was going this way has been broken because of the offering, but we get to see that there is currently a support sitting in around 0.27. And then above that, closer to where the stock price is sitting in around 0.29 mark. And then we have one around 0.30 where it's currently basically sitting in on it, and it did break through it in the extended market, so that's a good sign. The next resistance that we're looking at is somewhere around 0.31. Now it did touch the Fibonacci retracements just a little bit under the 0.32 mark, around 0.325, I believe. And then the next resistance would be around 0.33, and then next one would be around 0.35, following that 0.36, and then we're hitting in 0.38. So there's a lot of upside on this one. Now this was a massive news here, 0.614. So you're talking about almost a third of the value where it dropped today. So there's a lot of upside here. But here's a little bit of the dangerous thing. I'll do share it at the very end in terms of when I would sell if I did buy the stock, or where I think the stock would hit a reversal. Now it is already currently on a green reversal, and that's seen. Now going on first towards news before moving there. So this is their website here. And so not a lot on their website, except here, for instance, their pipelines. I see that they have a bunch of things here. A couple of partners as well, DOT Therapeutics, and then De Novo Biopharma. They have one in preclinical and one in phase 1. Additional to what they have in terms of collaboration. I'm going to be looking quickly in terms of their finances. So this is from 2019 to 2020. They do have a third net loss per common share, going in 0.27 compared to 0.75, so just a little bit less than 3 times less. Now their net loss here is sitting in a 23 versus 26.6. So it's not a much of a big degree, but here's the thing: it seems that they have increased their shares as well. So It actually doesn't look good in terms of paper in 2019 to 2018, but it's still expected. A lot of these companies do create offerings to help their growth. Now, going on from 2020, this is the 3 months ending. You get to see that they have 0.05 loss per share compared to 0.10. Now, that is half, and that could look good news, but shared use and computing net loss per common share has doubled. So it looks like they have had their share off diluting the stock. But still, there's a future for this one, at least for trading it, and I'll show you exactly where I would sell. Now, moving on to their corporate presentation, and we get to see exactly here, basically the pipelines that they have. Their technology here, I'm not going to go through it just because it's a bit technical and I don't have the technical experience to talk very much about pharma, but they do have one of the things here that I would like to share is they're basically their technology for phase 1B study design, and so I expect more of a PR coming in towards after this. There seems to be as well good news coming in from my understanding from just reading this. So in terms of coming into the summary, they do have high cash in hand, around 28.9 million. Of course, they did have a lot of offerings before, so I expect that's where the cash came from. Their debt is 5.5 million, so they have enough money to pay off their debt easily. So that's a little bit concerning into why they're looking for a stock offering. Going in towards, let's move on forward. This one was on July 7th, so it's a little bit of a further on update, but basically they have reduced their workforce on 30% of its headcount to focus on development of its first-in-class PDK1 inhibitor SNS 510. So basically what they're looking for here is they're expected to have, they might actually end up rehiring some of their staff back going in all the way until second quarter of 2021. So there might be some good PR there. Moving on towards institutional buy-ins. A massive institutional buy-in around almost 11 million shares coming in from Savvy Management. And why this is interesting for me is that Savvy Management has been known to try to short stock and manipulate stocks a little. And with that kind of position, it kind of is scary just a little for me, seeing this kind of massive buy-in. Although it could also be argued that, hey, they find value in this one and they want to play it. Although it's kind of a little bit of a scary sign for me and for other investors that have been a bit more experience in this market. In terms of insider purchase, the last insider purchase did happen somewhere around earlier on this year, around May. So end of May, early June. So that's there. Going in as well, you get to see here that the offering is around 0.23 cents. Sorry, $0.23, 23 cents. Going in around almost 8 million shares, and it's actually, it's purchase of additional 8 million shares, but it's for 52 million shares of its common stock. So that's quite interesting. A lot of dilution happening here. This will be ending on July 31st. And basically, they anticipate that the net use is going to go to the PDK1 inhibitor and SNS 510 and general corporate purpose. So that could be more of cash. It could be as well for more funding. The next thing that comes in as well to mind, well, this is the exact same information that we did for the offering. So July 31st. So, Ed, you told us you're going to say how you're going to play about this stock, and here's my play. I've been experienced with a bit of offering plays, and I played this one. The only reason I didn't jump on this is because I had a bunch of stuff done for today. But I would have bought somewhere around the 0.27 mark, even because the 0.23, 0.239, I wouldn't imagine that there was many shares in, so it didn't even hit that 0.23 mark. And that was because of all the hype that is coming in as well. But here's the scary thing, is that the stock has had this massive push, and sometimes companies do that in terms of their PR and then slap it with an offering so they maximize their kind of capital raise. But what you're looking at here is there seems to be a stable price that has been hitting quite a bit, and it's just back to that stable price. So what I expect for this stock, and I know I might get a little bit of hate on it, but this is based on experience such as AEZS, BKYI last week, And what happens is this stock does see a massive jump in the morning with people getting very excited on it. That this one is going to be the run. This is going to go to 0.6. But just remember, it only hit 0.6 only for around 1 day, and then it went down tumbling. And this is where we got the offers. So my expectations is it probably will see somewhere closer to 0.38, 0.4. That's just my expectation based on the offering. And that's all dependent on the hype it gets. I'll definitely sell early on morning, and that just would be me because I do expect somewhere like around 9 a.m. where people want to realize their profits from overnight. I mean, we're talking about, I think, 0.29 to 0.3, even though up or around 0.27 to 0.3. Even though we're talking about something like 3 cents, divide that by their initial investment of 0.27, you're talking about 11%. Some people would are fine with that. I'll definitely not consider buying it right now. I mean, you could technically buy it and then sell it in the pre-market. You would get probably somewhere closer to, well, you'd still get green percentage, but I would also hold until pre-market. So I wouldn't sell until perhaps later on in pre-market, somewhere closer to 9 a.m. That's where other people start FOMOing in. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention it down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful day.